Hey guys, I'm Priyank and I'm a lazy retarded copywriter, but I make 10 grand a month with this strategy. And in this video, I'm going to show you my process to speedrun to 10 grand a month as a copywriter within the next 3 to 5 months, even if you're a beginner. And to start this video off, I just wanted to show you guys this quick photo of me. So here's a picture of me last week writing copy in a 5-star hotel in Greece, literally staring at the sea in the sunset. And this was my actual office for the last 2 weeks. Now, I'm not sharing this to brag or anything, maybe just a little bit, but I'm showing you this because 3 years ago, I was broke, overthinking every move that I was doing, and definitely not working from luxury resorts. Now, if that guy can pull 10K plus a month with this lazy ass approach, I'm pretty sure you guys can do it too. So step one of my process to speed run to 10 grand a month as a lazy copywriter is to learn a lazy copywriting skill, which I call a low effort, high pay skill. You see, on the market, I've noticed that there are two types of copywriters. On the left side, you have a species which I call the bottom G copywriters, which are 99% of the copywriters on the market. They tend to read every copywriting book that's out there. They spend 2 years learning every single copywriting skill that exists, like VSLs, sales letters, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. They watch every single YouTube video that's out there about copywriting. They take notes. They focus on the information rather than the implementation, and they're still broke after 2 years. And on the right side, you have a species which I call the Giga Chat copywriters, which I'm a part of and which I want you guys to become. These guys only know how to write emails. They have zero clue of how to write VSLs, long form sales letters, and they focus on implementing rather than consuming content. And these guys end up making 5 to 10 grand a month after 3 months of copywriting. You see, most people on the market think they need to become a copywriting expert to make money with it. But the reality is you only need to master one copywriting skill to start getting your first clients and even to scale to 10 grand a month. You see, when I first started copywriting, I was a lazy scumbag. Here's a photo of me in 2020. At the time, I was working late nights on my computer to start to understand how copywriting works. I was sending cold DMs, cold emails, trying to find my first clients, but I was lazy as and I still am to this day. And I needed to find something that would suit my personality and the way I like to work. I didn't want to wait 2 years to master all the complex skills around copy, like writing VSLs, long form sales letters, landing pages, understanding automations and all that bullshit. I wanted to make money quick with it. So I just focused on one single copywriting skill. So the goal of this stage here is going to be to pick your low effort, high pay skill. Basically, it's a skill that you can learn fast, that brings high value to your clients, and that doesn't take long to write. And for that matter, there are plenty of copywriting skills you should be avoiding if you're just starting out and you want to get your first client as fast as possible. So what not to pick? The first thing I would avoid is long form VSLs, because the problem with those is that they're way too complex. They take a long time to master, and also, there's a low likelihood of you signing retainer clients. The reason being is most businesses don't need long form VSLs that often. So it's going to be really hard for you to sign retainer clients that pay you every single month for that skill. The second thing I would avoid is focusing on sales letters. You have the exact same problems. It just takes forever to master, forever to test. And also most clients don't need one every month, which means that you're going to have a hard time finding retainer clients that pay you every single month for you to write their sales letters. So when picking that skill, you should avoid anything that has a long time to ROI for the client. If it takes months to prove your work made them money, you'll stay broke way longer. The problem with long form VSLs and sales letters is that they take way longer to test. Your client is going to need a few weeks to gather data and understand whether your work does work or not. Now, when it comes to the copywriting skills you should focus on if you want to speedrun to 10 grand a month, these are skills that need to pass what I call the REF formula test. Those are just 3 simple criteria that you need to make sure the skill you're going to pick has. So it should be recurring, so clients need it every week, sometimes even daily. The copywriting skill you pick should also be easy, so you can crank it out without burning out. And also, it should be fast for you and for the client. So you need to be able to come up with the ideas and the copywriting fast, and also have the ability to bring results to the client fast. On my side, when I first got started and I was speed running to 10 grand a month, the copywriting skill I focused on to make 10K as fast as possible was emails. Emails, in my opinion, is the easiest way to get started. There's a high demand on the market. A lot of business owners need you to write their emails. Almost every single business on the planet has an email list, and there's a high likelihood of recurring clients because they're often needed weekly, daily, especially in info or e-com. By the way, those industries are the ones that make the most money, in my opinion, for a copywriter. So when you're good, it can take 15 minutes to write an email, sometimes even 10 minutes, depending on how long you've been working with the client. And it also brings a high ROI to your clients. I've personally written some email campaigns that brought more than 40% of the total revenue in a webinar that made 3.5 million euros in sales. So that means that I brought to my client a bit more than €1 million over the course of a few days. All the emails I wrote for that project took me about 15 minutes to write, but I wrote a ton, about 150. Just wanted to show you guys the type of projects I work on. So that specific Google Docs I'm showing you guys is written in French because I was working for a French client, and that guy paid me 15 grand to write all these emails. You see, those emails are really short. At max, they are like 150 words maximum. And I wrote a ton of them. As you see, this section of the document has like 99 pages, and there are plenty of those. But for the most part, the emails I'm showing you guys right here took me about 15 to 20 minutes to write, sometimes even 10 minutes, and I could literally crank them up super fast. What's so powerful about those emails is that they were responsible for more than €1 million in sales over the course of a few days. I can write them extremely fast, clients pay well, and they make a lot of money with it, which means you also make a lot of money with it. Now, the second copywriting skill I would focus on if I wanted to speedrun 10 grand a month as I did would be short form VSL. So Facebook ad video scripts or YouTube ad video scripts for short form. You see those 1 to 3 minute ads you're seeing when you're scrolling on Facebook or Instagram. Those are the ones I'm talking about. They're a bit more complex than emails, but there's also a high demand on the market, especially in e-com. There's also a high likelihood of recurring clients, often needed weekly and daily, especially in info or e-com. Now, if I wanted to focus on a single skill, my personal pick would be to focus on emails because that's how I got started and would allow me to speedrun to 10 grand a month in less than 3 months. The reason being is that there's an easier learning curve. You can get good enough to sell them in a couple of weeks. You don't need to take 3, 4, 6 months to master them. There's also a lower friction to close clients because everybody gets what an email is. Most business owners know the power of email marketing, so it's kind of easier to sell. Most of them already have an email list, so it's also going to be a lot easier for you to bring them results. And the last thing is, emails give you more space to stack retainers fast. So you only need 3 to 5 email clients paying you 2 grand each, and you're already at 6 to 10K per month. Now, step 2 of my lazy process. Once we pick the copywriting skill you're going to focus on, we move on to step 2, which is high reps in the field. You don't need to take too long on the theory, and you need to confront yourself to the market as soon as possible, guys. So if you're a complete beginner as you're watching this video, you're still stuck at 0 per month, you're not making a single dollar with copywriting, the first thing you should do is to practice on your side daily for 1 to 3 hours a day. But please, guys, don't take too long in this phase. This phase right here is only going to take you 2 to 3 weeks maximum. The way you're going to practice daily on your side for 1 to 3 hours a day is going to be by reading and analyzing newsletters. You can read my emails. I send a ton of emails every single day. You can also read Jan Stanley, Ben Settle, Daniel Throssell, which are all great email copywriters. I think they all send daily emails. And the best thing you could do is just to analyze their emails, try to rewrite them with your style, try to understand the patterns, the structures, the psychology behind the emails. But then you should quickly move on to the next part, which is going to be switch to market reps ASAP. So the best way to learn is by offering free trials to a real business so that you send emails to their list to collect data. Because if you spend 2 months learning in a cave on your side, reading, taking notes, the only feedback you're getting is yourself, which is completely biased. The market is the best copywriting coach that's out there. Because if you write emails for a client for free, you send them to their list, to real people that read your emails and they don't click, that means your email sucks, which is really good because you have some tangible data that allows you to understand why they don't work. Now, to make this work, you should quickly move on to stage 3, which is going to be outreach like a madman plus offer free trials. I talk about this in a lot of my videos, and I know it might seem a bit redundant, but it's really important, guys. So what you need to do is to stack free trials like Pokemon cards. So since you've got the skill you picked, you've got a couple reps under your belt, you've taken 2 to 3 weeks just to understand the psychology behind copywriting, how a good email works. None of that matters if no one actually knows you exist. Now, a lot of you guys might get scared before moving on to this stage, which is just reaching out to real businesses and offering free trials. Because on my side, at the time, I was really procrastinating. But to be honest, it's really the first few outreaches that are scary. So to offer free trials, the easiest thing you could do is to focus on video DMs on Instagram, which is my weapon of choice. So you need to forget cold emails, long essays, long DMs you send on Instagram, like, hey, I love your content. Instagram video DMs are the cheat code. And there are just so many reasons that explain this, but the most important thing is that there's a big pattern interrupt when you send a video DM to someone because everybody's sliding in DMs with text messages. So if you show up with a human face with a video, your response rate is going to skyrocket. They also build trust faster and they're way harder to ignore. And on my side, video DMs completely changed my copywriting career. And out of all the copywriters I've helped scaling past 10 grand or even 20 grand a month, 99% of them were all focusing on video DMs on Instagram. Now, the way to go about those video DMs on Instagram is to not overthink production. Film them on your phone. It could take around 20 to 30 seconds, 1 minute max. Make sure you have a clean background, good lighting, smiling helps, and looking like a hostage doesn't. But there's one thing you need to know, guys. Depending on where you're at in your journey right now, the people you're going to reach out to are going to be completely different. So if you're at stage 0, you're making $0 right now, you're completely broke and you haven't made a single dollar with copywriting, you need to go small. So if you're just starting out, reach out to small info businesses, content creators, or e-com brands that have anywhere in between 10K to 100K followers. Because if they're too big, they have gatekeepers. So they have like a community manager, an appointment setter. And if they're too small, they have no budget because they're completely broke. So they won't have money to pay you. And they also need to have decent engagement on their posts. So they can't have a following base based off of robots. So just make sure the people you reach out to don't have 2 likes per post. Now, the reason why this range works is that they're big enough to have money. They're small enough not to be drowning in pitches from award-winning copywriters, so-called, with like 3 weeks of experience. Now, that was only for you guys at stage 0. If you're at stage 1, so you're already making 1 to 3 grand a month, you need to go big. At this stage, what you want to do is just scale your income. You want to go from 1K to 5K, or like wherever you're at. You want to just increase your revenue. And at this stage, you can use proof and case studies as leverage, plus ask your current clients for referrals. So if you're someone that already has a client, your client is an entrepreneur. He has a network and he probably knows other business owners that need your services. So use this as leverage. When it comes to Instagram outreach, for you guys that are already making 1 to 3 grand a month, target bigger businesses. So people who have anywhere between 100K to 1 million followers. And then we move on to the next stage, which is the outreach math. So this one, guys, is really important. Don't skip this part, guys. You just need to understand that you're not going to send a couple of DMs and magically land 5 clients, because it's a numbers game. As you're watching this, guys, there are people out there, copywriters just like you, that are savages. And the way I did it to compete with these people is that I was aiming for at least 10 to 100 outreaches a day. I know that range is really big, but the reason I'm saying this is because I've seen a lot of things happen in the market with my students and the copywriters that I'm helping scaling right now. So some of my students have had great success with just 10 video DMs a day, while others needed to send 50 to 100 a day just to get a few calls a week. Consistency is the most important factor when it comes to success. So it's better to send 10 DMs a day for 365 days straight than to send 100 DMs a day once per week. All right, guys. Now, the next step of the process to speedrun to 10 grand a month with copywriting is to aim to hit at least 3 to 5 free trials a week. So you're aiming for 3 to 5 free trials every week. Why? Because the only way to create leverage in the early game is volume of opportunities. Just think of it as dating. Let's say you have 2 type of guys. One guy who only goes on a date every 2 months. And on the other hand, you have a guy who goes on 5 dates a week. If you're meeting 3 to 5 women a week, you don't even have time to care about the ones who ghost you, because you're in the abundance mindset. Put yourself in that situation where you have so many opportunities that you're in the abundance mindset and you don't even know where to look at. You want to put yourself in a situation where you have too much work. Because if you're broke or under 10 grand a month, you don't have a time problem, bro. You just have a money problem. So this is not the season for deep work retreats or crafting the perfect portfolio or just analyzing more copywriting or reading more copywriting books or watching more copywriting videos. You're in that stage of your life where you need to be stacking as many live projects as possible, even if that means working nights or weekends. And if you follow what I'm sharing in this video, at some point you're going to be in a situation where you're like, Priyank, I don't know what to do. I have way too many free trials going on. But when you're drowning in work, guys, 2 magical things happen. The first thing is that you get good really fast because you get reps under real conditions. You get to work for real business owners, send emails to real people through their email list, and your skill set literally jumps in weeks, not years. During this stage, I've seen copywriters and myself make the equivalent of 3 years of progress over the course of a few weeks. And the second great thing that happens when you're drowning in work is that you can choose. You get to drop the bad clients and keep the high ROI ones. Now, step 5 of the process. At this point, you have picked your lazy copywriting skill. You have taken a few weeks to master it. You have sent hundreds of video DMs. You're flooded with work for free trials. Now, what you want to do is to turn your free trials into retainer clients. So step 5 of the process is going to be take rev share or minimum 1.5K per month retainers. Once you've got free trials flowing and results to point to, it's time to turn them into real money. And the first step for this is going to be the retainer baseline. So my rule to speedrun to 10 grand a month is that I don't sign anything under 1.5K per month unless you're really in need for the money. Why? Because anything under that, you'll resent the client, you'll end up procrastinating, and it will just pull focus from better deals. In this game, there are a lot of business owners that are desperately looking for a great copywriter. So it's pretty simple to find someone that's ready to pay you 1.5K per month. Now, quick side note before I move on to the next phase, guys. When you're getting started, it's going to be a lot more complex if you want to charge higher prices like 3-4 grand a month for your first client. In my case, the first ever copywriting client that I signed as a retainer was a 4K per month client. But what I see for the most part out of all the copywriters I'm coaching is that usually their first client is going to be a 1.5K to 2.5K per month retainer. Now let's move on to the next part. So the other thing you should understand is that there are various pricing models and ways to charge your clients. You have flat fee and you also have revenue share. Depending on the market you're targeting and depending on the type of clients you're looking for, the pricing model is going to be a lot different. For example, if you're reaching out to e-com brands and you want to work for supplement brands or clothing brands or basically any type of e-com store, they're way more open to revenue share, especially if you want to take a percentage of the sales from your emails or your ads, because they're used to paying on performance for media buyers, agencies, and even affiliates. So if you wanted to pitch them, it could be something like, I'll write your flows, your weekly campaigns, and I would take X% of the revenue from these emails. There's zero risk for you, and I only make money if you do. Now, when it comes to info businesses, those are my favorite. Those are the type of clients I work for. Typically, they tend to stick to flat monthly retainers because they're bombarded with outreach from copywriters. A lot of copywriters, when they're first getting started, they tend to reach out to info businesses. So many of them have seen offers from other copywriters. Plus, they also have some other rev share partners like their agencies, like their media buyers. So if you wanted to pitch them, it could go something like, for 2.5K per month, I'll handle all your email campaigns plus ad scripts. I'll optimize everything to pull the highest ROI possible. You'll get consistent results, and you can also back it up with a guarantee. But I'll talk about that in another video. And that's basically it for this video, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your time. And if you guys have any ideas of topics you'd want me to talk about on the channel, just feel free to comment down below and I'll make a video about it. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.